Hello, I'm going to do a book review on the books that I have read. So the first two books I've really read is the best two books that I finished reading is A Study in Drowning and Juniper and Thorn. So for this book, but these two books by Ava Reid, and for Study in Drowning, I would give it a literally 10 out of 10 because I enjoyed it. It was well written. This is written as a a dark academia book. I would basically say it's like gothic, kind of gothic slash fantasy book, but it's quite modern in the themes that it's written. I know I got bookmarked there, but I'm just rereading it. So, and it's well written. I like the cover too, but it was really interesting, right from the front to the end. I think it was really interesting at the end, but it was taking really long to get um just to get to the point, like to find out what they were going to find out. I do apologize if I'm vague, but it's well written. If I read books are really well written, I prefer. So that's the first book that I've read. The second one is A Juniper and Thorn, which by Ava Reid, the same author. This is the retelling of the Juniper story, which is ironic because I haven't even read the retelling of the book. This is also just as well written. I would give this is not my this is a really good book, but it's not my favorite because how dark the book is. For me personally, it was really dark. I would still give this a 9 out of 10 because it was so well written. Like Ava Reid really encourages you to read this book, like to continue reading. It was so good. Yeah, I would still give it a 9 out of 10. I did like the ending of the book. I don't want to spoil anything, but it is really dark, and it does kind of questions like the dark side of humanity. This is also a fairy tale slash fantasy book. It's based on about the three sisters, which is Marla, Chun, Rose, and Undine, and they were just basically living under the abuse of their father. Basically, I see that he was the father's more short-tempered and more than anything. I mean, he was personally quite abusive towards the end, but I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was really talking about how the sisters try and get away from under their father's grasp. That is the main plot. So, and there's like one thing they said about was really interesting was about the monsters, and but I personally, for me, there was barely any monsters in there for me to even get a grasp of it. But I do give this a 9 out of 10 because the reason why it was so dark, it was really like, but it was so interesting at the same time, but it was just really dark. What made this book interesting, well, both these books, was the style of writing. It was so good, so descriptive. It was really both their books always seem to have always have a twist as well. So it's just how you had to read it from beginning to end. But I preferred this book, Study in Drowning, more than this because this book was just it was really about the writing and like getting about really about storytelling. But it was and I liked it that they was written in a fantastical period, a completely different period. But I did really like the book because I liked the setting in this book was like at the edge of like a coast, but the coast was eroding, and it was really good. So these two books I would totally recommend. I would still recommend this book because it's so well written, and this as well. But this is so good, but it's really dark. So there's things like abuse and sexual abuse, and just I also think just also storytelling of fairy tales, but from I believe the Ukrainian storytelling, because I read as Ukrainian. So there is I'm not that was the one thing was hard for me to grasp was I wasn't sure of the fairy tale from the European side from the European side rather than just the UK. So yeah, so that was the one. This is the one but that was the only one that I found it. Like I wasn't able to understand it fully because I wasn't aware of the previous fairy tale that's based on this book. Well, not just the Juniper Thorn, but not just the Juniper fantasy, but also other stories as well. This one is what I'm currently reading. I'm getting mixed. I know this is popular, which is Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I wanted to read this book before I wanted to read these two, but because from the library there was a whole queue, and it took me I think like a good 4 months to get a book because I was waiting in the queue to get this. Like when I reserved this book, so I finally got it now. Personally, I got mixed review about this one, so I haven't finished reading it. I'm still on, I believe, chapter 6. I have mixed reviews, and so far it is good, but it's not as personally just so personal as good as these two. These two are really well written. And another thing that someone said about this book is that had M dash, which I'm assuming is like a hyphen, which is I'm assuming is a hyphen. And I admit like that Sarah J. Maas put a lot of this in this book, and it is actually, and they said it was really annoying, and now that the person who read this pointed it out, it is so annoying to read it without just because literally M dash like in their self like was like there's this book. This is quite interesting, but so far I found these two books like right from the get-go. So from it by Ava Reid, they're really good. I do want to read her next book, which is by Lady Macbeth, but I wanted a bit of break because how dark this book was, and I wasn't mentally ready for Lady Macbeth yet. But I can't wait to read it by Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. But this is the book I'm reading so far. It's going good. It's not personally my favourite as of yet. It's not as good as these two so far. I'm not sure, but I really want to read it I really want to read this, like finish reading it. I don't want to leave it halfway through. I don't want to give a review from it, but what do you think of this book, guys? And thank you for listening to my book review. Ooh.